Hi viewers, welcome to Bosco Campus Vision. This is Seema Dudley. This is my 6th video on object-oriented programming. Today we will continue with the topic binding and polymorphism. Poly means many and morphism means several forms. So the word polymorphism means having many forms. And we can define this polymorphism as the ability of a message to be displayed in more than one form. In C++, there are two types of polymorphism: compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism can be achieved by function overloading and operator overloading. Runtime polymorphism can be achieved by using virtual functions. The term binding means matching the function call with the correct function definition. We all know we will be writing programs using functions. When we are using functions, there will be three different parts, that is function declaration, function call and function definition. So in terms of functions, binding means matching the function call with the correct function definition. And in terms of variables, binding means converting it into addresses. And this binding is of two types: early binding and late binding. Early binding is also known as static binding, and late binding is also known as dynamic binding. And early binding is known as the compile time polymorphism, and late binding is known as runtime polymorphism. നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ compile time polymorphism നമ്മൾ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് by using function overloading or function operator overloading, and runtime polymorphism നമ്മൾ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് by using virtual functions. Details about compile time polymorphism: it is also known as static binding or early binding, and it means that the code associated with the function call is linked at compile time. Compile timeilana ee function call inde corresponding function definition copy ചെയ്ത് paste ചെയ്യുന്നത്, and it is done at compile time. That is why it is known as static binding or early binding or compile time polymorphism, and it is achieved by function overloading or operator overloading. Function overloading means there will be multiple functions with same name but will be having different parameters, and this function overloading can be done by change in number of arguments or change in type of arguments. We can see an example. Here is an example for function overloading. In this example, there are three functions with the same name. Okay, there is a class A, B, C, and in the public section there are three member functions with same name fun. That is, first one is void fun of int x, second function is void fun of double x, and third function is void fun of int x comma int y. In the first function there is only one parameter and it is of integer type. Second function is a double data type and there is only one parameter. And in the third function there is two parameters of type integer. Okay, ഇപ്പോൾ ഇതിനെയാണ് ഒരു ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ഓവർലോഡിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുക. That is, this class will be having 3 member functions with same name, but it is having different parameter list, and in the main function we will be invoking the different functions by passing the values accordingly. Okay, to access the function with integer parameter, we will be using the first statement, that is object dot fun of 7. That is, we are passing integer value. And then the second statement, object dot fun of 9.132. That is, we are invoking the second function. And to invoke the third function, we have to pass 2 integer values. And this is an example of function overloading. Operator overloading is also a compile time polymorphism, and operator overloading means providing special meaning to the user defined data type. We have already studied in detail about operator overloading with example, and operator overloading means we will be giving an additional meaning to the existing operator. For example, we will be using addition symbol to add 2 variables, but we can use that addition symbol to add the objects of a class. So class is a user defined data type, and we will be using the plus symbol to add the objects of the user defined data type. That is known as operator overloading. Then one of the advantage of operator overloading is to perform different operations on the same operand. നമുക്ക് ആ സെയിം ഓപ്പറൻറ്റ്, ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് നമ്പേഴ്സിനെ ആഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം, ആൻഡ് ആ നമ്പേഴ്സിനെ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ബൈ യൂസിങ് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റ് വെച്ചിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാം. ആൻഡ് ദ ഓപ്പറേറ്റേഴ്സ് ദാറ്റ് കനോട്ട് ബി ഓവർലോഡഡ് ആർ സ്കോപ്പ് റെസൊല്യൂഷൻ ഓപ്പറേറ്റർ, നമുക്ക് ഓവർലോഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ദെൻ സൈസ് ഓഫ് ഓപ്പറേറ്റർ, നമ്മുടെ ഡേറ്റ ടൈപ്പിൻ്റെ സൈസ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള വേരിയബിൾസിൻ്റെ സൈസ്, മെമ്മറി സൈസ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ഓപ്പറേറ്റർ സൈസ് ഓഫ്. ദെൻ മെമ്പർ സെലക്ടർ ഡോട്ട് ഓപ്പറേറ്റർ ഓവർലോഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. മെമ്പർ പോയിൻ്റർ സെലക്ടർ, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ സ്റ്റാർ സിമ്പിൾ. Then the ternary operator, that is the conditional operator, the operator having 2 sessions, that is question mark and colon. ഇത് ഇത്രയും ഓപ്പറേറ്റേഴ്സ് നമുക്ക് ഓവർലോഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. Details on early binding. We know that binding means process of converting identifiers into address, and also combining the function call or matching the function call with a right function definition, and it can take either at compile time or at runtime. And early binding or static binding or compile time polymorphism means that linking will be taking place at compile time. That is, the compiler directly associate an address to the function call at compile time. It replaces the call with the machine language instruction at compile time. So we can check an example. In this example, we have a base class base and a derived class derived, which is derived publicly from base. And in the base class we have a private member B, and under public section we have a default constructor to initialize the variable, and a member function show off to display the variable. and in the derived class we have a private member D, and in the public section we have a default constructor to initialize a variable, and also a member function to display the variable. And the base class as well as the derived class will be having the same function show off. Since it is a example of early binding without any ambiguity, we can access the function show off in the base class as well as derived class by deriving the object of derived class. Derived class and object ആണ് normally നമ്മൾ ഇൻഹെറിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഡിറൈവ്ഡ് ക്ലാസ്സിൻ്റെ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റ് യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് തന്നെ രണ്ട് ഫങ്ഷനെയും നമുക്ക് ആക്സസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും വിത്തൗട്ട് മച്ച് ആംബിഗിറ്റി. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഏത് ഷോ ഓഫ് ആണ് കോൾ ചെയ്യുന്നതെന്നുള്ള ആ ഒരു ആംബിഗിറ്റിനെ അവോയ്ഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും ബൈ യൂസിങ് ദ മെൻഷൻഡ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ്സ് ഇൻ ദ മെയിൻ ഫങ്ഷൻ. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് a dot base scope resolution show off, and that statement will be invoking the function show off in the base class, and the statement a dot show off will be invoking the function show off in the derived class. So there will be no ambiguity generated, and the program will become executed. Hope everyone have clearly understood this topic, and we will continue with late binding in the next section. Thank you.